Hey, yeah, Sassy Crew! With Base Monster Hunter Stories 3 being out for more than a month now and a royal update coming this summer, I think it's the perfect time to see how the base game itself holds up. That means not only the story itself, but the movement, environments, gameplay loop, combat design, and endgame. Does the third installment of this franchise hold up to the expectations set by players? Perhaps you are even new to the Stories games and want to know if this game is something for you. So, is it worth both in Stories and Endgame? Or are there still some things that need to be added in later updates? Time to find out. This video will be spoiler-free until a certain part that I will clearly mark as the spoiler section. As always, if you like this video and you want to support me, you can do so via likes, comments, and types. Now then, let's get into the video. In the Monster Hunter Stories games, you go around the world and enter dens to collect monster eggs. You can then hatch these eggs and add the respective monster to your team. Your monster party members, called Monsties, can be ridden in the overworld. Each Monstie has their individual overworld skill set that matches their nature as a creature. So for example, a Tobi Kadachi, which is known for its agility and swift movement in the trees, is able to climb and glide, while the Leviathan Royal Ludroth can swim but is unable to do things like climbing or gliding. Monsties also participate in combat together with you, the rider. The combat itself follows a rock-paper-scissors system that seems simple at first, but can get quite complex the deeper you go. Just have a small look at my guide to Ibushi and Nawa after this video, then you'll see what I mean. Around your main journey, you will find yourself in a nice story that isn't too complicated but also not too simple. It's a nice mix of a charming cast of characters and a single call to adventure that might uncover more as you go. Meanwhile, you visit more locations that have different monsters and possible monsties in them. These are charming adventures that probably won't change your life, like for example Xenoblade does, but they will leave you satisfied in the end and wanting to play more. As a Monster Hunter game, you expect good and engaging gameplay. The previous two story titles already had a nice loop with exploring, egg collecting, hatching, rinse and repeat. And that is no different for this game. In fact, egg collecting, gene management and exploration has been streamlined. This is the good kind of streamline where tedious things got removed. Trust me, I invested a lot of time into team building in Stories 1 and 2. I know what I'm talking about. No more running around in a den with similar structures after a few encounters. Now it's just instant access to the eggs. And while in Stories 1 it wasn't too bad with the dens, it still got annoying when you just wanted to farm certain genes. And don't get me started on the Stories 2 dens. And even better is the fact that Monstie switching is no longer bound to a menu with a minuscule black screen loading time. Now it's instant access with the hold of a button. And wow, this really improves the moment-to-moment gameplay. Farming eggs, exploring the world is so much fun just by this simple change. So even when there's not much of a post-game, which I will be covering here as well, it's just so much fun to simply move around and engage with the egg collecting and gene managing mechanic. You don't even need that many monsters in your party to cover all the field skills, which was a problem in the previous two games. Areas in Stories 3, except for the last one, let's be honest, are quite interesting to explore. The areas themselves aren't massive. However, they are filled with various interesting aspects such as monsters, chests, and fast travel points. Speaking of fast travel points, there are these travel points called caravan stands scattered all around the world. They function both as a fast travel point and as a save point once activated. Don't worry, the game also has a separate autosave slot just in case. You get to explore the world in full and then use the caravan stands to quickly reach any dens or monsters you want to interact with. Although there are some areas where more caravan stands are needed. Something new this game offers are the lookout points. These are basically small towers that reveal a part of the map once you reach them. It's a good way of scouring your surroundings and marking any point of interest. While the worlds are really nice, except for the last one, I still wish they were a little bigger, with the exception being the second one. That one is pretty much perfect in terms of size, in my opinion. Side quests are also in this game. There are plenty of them that range from defeating a monster, finding a certain person on the field, or delivering items. The usual. A lot of them grant useful rewards that can be used to upgrade your combat capabilities. They're nothing special, but still an enjoyable thing to do. In my playthrough, I also never encountered any annoying limit to how many side quests we can accept. To be honest, I found myself sidetracking a lot to do these simple yet enjoyable side quests. They do also encourage you to explore the world a bit more, so that's definitely a plus despite their simple appearance. Unfortunately, this game does not feature any background music during exploration, but any tracks that do appear, for example in towns, during battle, or cutscenes, are really good. You get tunes that rile you up for battle, like this one, or are supposed to instill a feeling of fear. Whenever you play a Monster Hunter game, there are at least 3 or 4 tracks that you can put in your personal music playlist. What's a JRPG without its story, content, and characters? And Story 3 starts off with an interesting premise. A mysterious phenomenon called the crystal encroachment is happening and spreading across the land. It causes monsters and plants to crystallize, wiping out entire sub-ecosystems in the process. This in turn forces a neighboring kingdom called Vermeil into a tight spot, resulting in a war with your kingdom not soon after. During the story, you will see more of the world and how it affects everyone, not just your main cast. This is something that I really like about this adventure. It does feel like a living, breathing world. You yourself are a ranger from the kingdom of Azuria and also its prince or princess. As a ranger, you study the ecosystem and help restore it. But you're not alone. You have a charming cast of characters in your team. Most of the depth comes from side stories, which are optional missions that you can partake in, that give valuable rewards and insight into your party members. Some are more than regular side quests, so look forward to them. The characters themselves are animated and voiced beautifully. All the cutscenes just feel like a clip from actual high-quality animated show. All these micro movements and facial expressions really make them feel alive. And while I personally think that the main story could dive deeper into some characters, what we do have is pretty entertaining and can also hit you in the feels. I just wish it would last longer, because you can really see the potential in some scenes or characters. Perhaps there will be some sort of expansion that could provide us with more Story 3 greatness. Let's hope. The combat in Story 3 is a ton of fun. It's both easy to understand at its fundamentals, and it can go quite deep when you invest your time into it. Throughout the campaign, battles feel challenging while also not being too overwhelming. You don't have to worry too much about overleveling either, since your monster's level caps around your level, which does take longer to fill. There are 2 main types that determine the strategy behind combat: attack types and elemental types. Attack types are presented in rock, paper, scissors fashion. You have power, speed, and technical attacks. Then there is also an elemental system that is more complex, as elemental weaknesses depend on the species, not their primary attack element tendencies. You fight in a team of 4 consisting of you and your monster, as well as your partner and their monster. You, the player, can customize yourself and your monsters. Your character can equip different armor and weapons, all being able to carry a variety of skills. Your Monsi can actually have a secondary element that is great for getting same type attack bonus. The core of your Monsi setup comes from genes, which can be freely customized once you unlock the Rite of Channeling early in the game. You can even equip moves from other monsters. Furthermore, there are things like bingo bonuses and passive versus active skills to be considered. So you can, for example, make a dodge build, a message damage boost build, or perhaps even play around a single status effect. The customization is really good. Similar to Stories 2, you don't need to have the gene at the same position as where you want to place it during the Rite of Channeling. But in addition, and unlike the other two games, you don't lose a Monsi during the process either, meaning that team building is heavily encouraged now. There are so many different kinds of builds you can make. It's insane! Unfortunately, there are only 2 fights in the game that forced me to utilize these features. Don't worry, this doesn't conflict with the challenge aspect I previously mentioned. I did a level 70 boss at level 10, so I kinda got some general battle strategies from this fight that any normal playthrough wouldn't know about. But yeah, only 2 fights actually beat me. There is not much of an endgame. What consists of your endgame is the 4 Elder Dragon bosses. There are more challenges coming this summer in the form of royal monsters. The devs recommended being at least around level 95 for them, so I think this will encourage even more team building. In summary, the basis of gameplay and story in Stories 3 is really good and can definitely be built upon. Base Stories 3 does give you around 20 to 30 hours of playtime, and depending on how much you want to do, even more. However, with the postgame only really consisting of 4 Elder Dragons, I really want more challenges to come in the future. We will get royal monsters this summer, so let's see what they are going to be cooking. We continue with the spoiler section. If you haven't beaten the game yet, now is your time to leave, because I will be going into detail about my opinion on things, even about the ending, etc. Leave now and come back later if you haven't beaten the game yet. 3, 2, 1, go! What I personally really liked about the Stories 3 story is the world building itself. Even before the Great War many years ago, the story being told already gave us a pretty good impression on the world and how the dynamics between the people worked. But now after the war, we can clearly see ourselves the kind of damage it has caused. Not only to the environment, but also the people and especially Einshin. That creature is suffering. Of course, it would awaken such a drastic skill because we first-hand experienced how dangerous a single battle against a battle-bound Rathalos is. This fight was great, by the way. Perfect example of showing, not telling. I really struggled against it. And my first thought while fighting it was, okay, Einshin, I get it. And the war that caused Einshin to release the crystals had a massive effect on the existing locations. It's really cool how we get to see the many different locations and slowly uncover more about the world, like the existence of a society outside of our kingdom and how we are the ones who were exiled from outside the world. Furthermore, it's quite interesting that not all parts of the world completely suffer from the crystal encroachment. The people of Galliard are actually able to use the crystals to sell them on the market, bringing in fortune from an unfortunate event. Still, there are corners of the city where you can see people suffering from presumably crystallisis, showing that dealing with dangerous materials such as these does have its consequences. Unfortunately, our best friend Simon also got inflicted with the illness. This led to him looking for a cure, finding hope in the promises of Vermeil and also introducing battle binding to them, which almost caused another tragedy just like it did all those years ago. You see how one thing leads to another? Things make sense in the world. Battles aren't fought just for the sake of a plot. Same goes for your party members. Their story is also affected by their surroundings. like Eleanor having to learn how to make meals out of the little ingredients she had, or Cora struggling to find her place in the kingdom. Sadly, most of these stories are hidden behind the side stories, and while these are pretty good, it does have the side effect of party members barely being noticeable in the main story. I wish they all got a small moment, like Rudy had in the swamp area. That was really great. Overall, the game needed more moments like these. The Rudy cutscene, meeting Anna, the confrontation with Simon and the egg, as well as the cutscene that made me bawl my eyes out so much. The ending with Iron Sheet and its baby, oh, that was so sad. The game's story builds up the world really well. I wish it also put as much attention into the characters. It's not bad at all, but it would be even better if there were more one-to-one character moments, you know? Gameplay-wise, I totally love building a party and the perfect monsties. Although I do wish for Free Flight to come back. I don't understand why this wasn't unlocked after beating the story. Or maybe after unlocking all the chests. Because we all know one specific ice area that is just horrible to traverse through. And some dens take way too long to get to without Free Flight, which is especially unfortunate when that's where a rare or even super rare den is located. Traversal is fun, but if you are in the grind for VX, you just want to get it as fast as possible. I really do like the more open locations, and the fact that no area is the same in its layout, which was a massive problem in Stories 2 for me. Something else I appreciate is the fact that you can have a very large build variety. Now all we need is more bosses that encourage you to actually go for different builds. Alright, that's all I have for this review of the base game. What's your opinion on Stories 3? I suggest you put in a spoiler warning in your comment if you want to talk about any spoiler-related stuff. You know, just so we can look out for each other, especially those who haven't finished the game yet. I hope you all really enjoyed this video. Don't forget that you can support me via likes, comments, and types. Thank you really much for watching, guys, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye!